My name is James Baley. I am a singer, songwriter, music creator based in Toronto. Perform with a lot of different bands in the city, one being The Big Sound out of the Great Hall. I perform with July Talk sometimes. Yeah, I've written and recorded with some of these artists as well, like Zaki Ibrahim and Azari and like Baji Pak. And so, yeah, like I'm a musician. That's what I do. Yeah. That's me.
Amazing. Yeah, James is going to be performing a song for us, and then we're going to do a little Q&A after just to talk about the inspiration behind his song. So whenever you're ready, James.
Thank you so much. Keep the light on. My faith is running out. Keep the light on. I'm going through it. Shadows got me at my knees. Shine your light on me. I promise to never give in with no way out. Telling myself there's no way you could hold me in your love. I'm freaking out. Take a listen to my prayers, yes. Can you see me there? Can you see me there? Shine your light out, Lord. Let me feel it in my blood. Oh. Think I need it. Times are moving in me. There's a fire in my soul, it's reaching out. Can you hold it with me? All these doors are closing here. Can you see them? I said I'm tired. Don't know where we're going now, but I'm trying. I keep trying. You're telling me that days and nights aren't gonna be easy. Ooh. At least I'm breathing. Devils in the dark, they're pulling every which way. I can't can't take it. No, no, no. All these doors are closing here. Can you see them? I said I'm tired. I'm tired. Don't know where we're going now. I said I'm trying, and I'm here for it. I said I'm here for you. Shine your light on me. Yeah. Oh, I said I need it. I said I need you. Oh, shine your light on me. I said I need it. Don't know where we're going now, but I'm trying. Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
I hope.
I mean, like I said, when I heard that song in December, it brought me to tears, and the lyrics are on their own so beautiful, and then obviously your performance is just absolutely amazing. And we will be uploading this to our site so people will be able to view it. But let's talk about the inspiration behind the song. I know that you wrote it based on a couple of people in your life, and I know that you wrote it a couple of years ago. But can you take us through the story behind it?
Yeah. So, I'm trying to be like able to speak to you right now. So, just from what I remember, I actually hadn't written a song for a while, and it was like getting to me, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I haven't written anything. And I know sometimes like, and I've discussed this with many different performers. It's like when you are in this state of like block, it can really like heighten your anxiety. But it was my first time writing with now a really close friend of mine. His name's Louis. He's a really good producer. And it was kind of like, he's just like, let's just vibe. Let's just do something. And recently I was speaking to my mother about just some family stuff, and stuff came up, and it was like on my heart, and I just started writing from that place. And yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I know, one thing that really came out when the first time I heard the song was, you being there as a support for someone and the challenges that come from somebody that sees another individual that you love in so much pain, or acting out in different ways, and trying not to lose hope and lose faith in that person.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I think that's one of the main themes in the song, like obviously keep the light on.
Oh yeah, like it really is like, no matter, it's really that message to yourself, and to also to this other person, and to just make sure that you're holding that space, making sure you're holding that light for people, because sometimes it's very difficult. And yeah, so it can really, if you have to deal with something in your family, and you know, sometimes you might even think like, you know what, it's other people might have it a lot worse, and you're not trying to compare, but you know, while you're also trying to deal with your own issues, and even just come to terms that you've been depressed, or you have anxiety, and then having to also try to support other people that are also dealing with different things, but also like expressing it differently, violently. It can take a toll on you, and take a toll on the family, and anybody that's a support, right? And you really do want to make sure that person knows that you're there for them and that you love them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, having that faith in that person is so important. And I know for myself, like when I've gone through stuff, you know, having that family to say, we still believe in you when you don't believe in yourself anymore is so powerful. But like you said, you know, you have your own challenges that you go through. And then on top of that, you have to be strong and support family members. And it can be challenging. And I think sometimes, you know, people that are suffering don't necessarily aren't aware of, you know, how hard it is for the individual that's supporting them as well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's hard to lower that guard, or lower that block that you have, and all the stuff that's doing in your mind. And and I feel like a lot of the times, like, and specifically with one of these people, he expressed to me, he's like, I just felt like I couldn't respond in the way that I wanted to, because then I myself felt weak, and I myself like I wasn't handling it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't keeping it together. And I think that's one phrase that that can be very hurtful, right? And kind of scary to hear, especially when you are trying your best, hearing people respond saying, just get it together. You're okay, just get it together. It's like that might not be the best thing to say. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much self-stigma that also goes along with it, right? And then when you're finally able to reach out for help and you're met with someone on the other end that doesn't quite understand, it can be quite defeating, and you go back into your shell, right?
I was going to say, like, this song is very like that, affirming in yourself that it's like, you have the power, right? But then also a message to people who have those individuals in their lives. It's like, try to still be there for them, because we all have our stuff, right? And you can only really move through it with support, you know? And
and I know, you know, in particular, I've done some sessions or some interviews like this with a few members in the Black community that are mental health advocates. And I know that there's such a stigma around mental health within the Black community, and just not really having the language for it, or not even really referring to it as mental health, right? And so there's so much stigma around that, and then more shame, and, you know, more people suffering in silence because of that. Have you experienced that within your community, or do you feel that people around you are a bit more open?
I feel that now, you know, in 2020, like regardless of the pandemic, I feel like people are able to, because the access is, or at least the education is more out there, like, for example, on the internet, you know, even though someone might feel a little bit of shame in their silence or in their alone time, some people will go and Google anxiety, Google depression, Google, you know, I don't know, like, I don't want to make a list, because I don't want to say the wrong things, but But
Yeah,
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 like,
no, I hear you.
you know, but I feel like more people are I guess like looking at like seeking help more in a more positive way in the Black community or the POC communities,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
because you know sometimes there are just those older cultural like imprints that we just have that make us feel that if we try to like seek help, even though we might not have the funds, even just thinking about that is like, it's like, no, don't do that. It's like together. You know what I mean? Hustle through it.
yeah, yeah,
And because like people, we try to like, I guess sometimes we celebrate people who do that, you know, and it's not the
yeah,
best thing to, or best message to be send across to our youth, you know. So
yeah,
or anybody in the community. But yeah, it is a thing. And I was going to give you an
yeah,
example actually. Um,
sure.
so myself and my partner both see counselors because you know it's great. It's a
Yeah,
great thing, you know, and it's a
yeah,
positive thing. And being able to then get on the phone with my mom and be like, "Hey, mom, what's going on? Blah 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 blah. You're cooking what? Great." And then her asking me about my day and me responding saying like, "Oh, I like spoke to my counselor today. You know, I told her that you know I'm going a little crazy. You know, in the quarantine." And my mom being like, "You have a counselor? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm okay. I'm seeking some help for some things that I can't get through alone. You know what I mean?" And then
yeah,
I feel like her first response was like, "Well, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me about it?" I'm like, "Well, sometimes I can't tell you about some things, but the fact that you like are here to support me is like speaks volumes, right?" Because my mom always says she's here for me and she loves me and
right.
she supports me. But then now having that conversation with my grandmother, my grandma's great. I have some family in the chats. We're not dragging grandma. Grandma's amazing. Um, but yeah, like I know for her and her generation, it's like anybody that drops the ball is spoken about in the community. It's like, oh no, did you hear? It's you know, and for her, it's like, oh no, what happened? You know, and are
Yeah,
you okay? It's like, are you and Josh okay? Like it always has to be something wrong,
yeah,
right? But it's
yeah,
like sometimes you have to spot it and try, and if you can get out of that place of like feeling shame like and seeking help, it's like I'm trying to seek help before it gets bad. Like,
yeah,
you know,
totally. Yeah.
I know some people
Yeah, and
out there
like you
that don't.
said, I think it's generational, right? Like your mom would have been raised by your grandmother who would have been raised, you know, and like the same kind of messaging goes on throughout. And so I think it's really now to kind of break that pattern and hopefully get more people out speaking about it and doing things like this. And, you know, I like thank you for getting really real and not being afraid to show your emotions on here. Um,
Oh my God,
it's a
right.
beauty.
Ooh. Sorry, my partner's in the chat
Pardon?
too. My
Oh
partner's in
yeah.
the chat. Grandma did say having that conversation with her. Grandma did say that she was open to like working through some stuff because I know she has baggage, and she's like,
That's
"Huh,
amazing.
nice." So it's yeah, and it's beautiful that that conversation, that education. It's like it's okay to like talk to somebody else about some things. You know what I mean? Or go to a doctor. You know, and
Yeah,
and having that message in your community, especially in the Lucy communities where like seeking help isn't necessarily like the right thing, you know, telling people that like this is okay. Like I know because I'm educating myself. There's people, and my mom's a nurse too, so she has educated herself on it. So and yeah, so even though it is generational, I feel like also spreading that education backwards also
totally.
helps.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. That's amazing. Your grandma sounds like a cool lady.
Oh, she's grandma's fab. Listen.
So coming back to the song for a minute, how are those two, the people that you kind of were inspired to write the song about, how are they doing now?
Well, they're doing good
If you're
actually.
comfortable.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing well. They're doing well. Yeah, they're just yeah, they're I feel like they're in a good place, a stable place, which is beautiful because one of these people contacted me right after my live with on Tika's Circle a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and it sent me a few pictures of like his apartment, and he was like showed it like peace fingers, and I'm just like, okay, so you're doing good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
so it was that was good
Cool.
to yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So this song isn't released yet. I've been like searching on the internet since I saw you in December. When do you plan to release it?
I plan to release this in July now because we gotta get it tight. We gotta get it nice and produced well. But yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
sooner.
it sounds pretty perfect to me already.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience? Like what are your what have you been up to during quarantine? You said you haven't written for a while. But where can people find you? I know that you're doing a charity performance soon.
Yes, so I'm doing oh my lord. I'm doing a performance with City. Where's Lydia? Come on, Lydia. Send me the information. I'm like the worst. But
We'll post it when we post it on when we upload this video. You sent me the details. I can add them.
but also if people want to find out like what I was mumbling about, you can just come to my page on Instagram
Yeah,
or on
cool.
Facebook. Yeah, so it is James Baley, JamesBaley, on Instagram, and I'm wearing a hat, so you can find me easily. But yeah, I'm on there, and you can find my music on Spotify, on Apple Music, on SoundCloud if you want to get into some old, archival stuff, and also
Cool.
Bandcamp. I have my Bandcamp link on in my bio or my profile.
Yeah. And you also like there's more to just singing like your bio. It says you do like performing arts as well. And
And then, yeah,
um,
I'm also part of
yeah.
the Toronto and also international ballroom community, like voguing, runway,
Oh, wow.
that, and I love those communities. Like that community is just, it is, I feel, the most loving and just quirky, interesting community to be a part of. And I feel like
Yeah.
everyone is in some way like creative, and you just push each other to be better people. So I really like that community for its support system.
Very cool. Well, I'd love to get you on again at some point in the future. But I feel like I'm not connecting with you as much as I wanted to just because you're like for me, you're breaking up. So this has been really challenging for me. But I'm glad that
Mhm.
everyone else can hear you really well. And I'd love to get you on again at some point in the future. I adore you and just think you're absolutely incredibly talented. And I can't wait to see, where things go for you. And I love like the soul behind the music and the lyrics and everything. So I really, really appreciate you coming on here, and I'm really glad that we've connected. And I can see that the audience really enjoyed it as well.
Thank you. No, yeah, this was great. Thank you so much.